Hello, this is the first tutorial for using Visual Studio Code for creating your website. What I'm going to show you today is a quick overview of how the software is set up and what you can do to get started, and we're going to start working with adding text to your first site. When you very first open Visual Studio Code, you'll see a page like this appear. What you then need to do is to create a new folder. So before you even get started within this software, what you need to do is make sure you've got a folder set up and ready. So what you will want is to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this Web Project. You could call this My First Site, something like that, but just make it clear that this is where all of your pages, all of your images, any other multimedia is going to all go into this one folder. So what you'll want to also do is create another folder within that and just call it Images. Now what you may have noticed is I've used a small letter at the start there. You just need to make sure that this is all lowercase, as will all of your HTML pages be when you get started. So once you've gone back into Visual Studio Code, what you can do is go to New File, so Start New File. And at the moment there's nothing on this page, which is absolutely fine. So what you'll need to do is click Open Folder, find where you've saved your work. Now it's important, don't click inside of your Images folder, just make sure you're outside of that, and then just click Select Folder. So now you should see that it, so now you can see that you're inside that web project folder and you're not inside of that images folder. So what you want to do now is click this little page here. So it's got a little page and a little plus. Click on that one, and this is creating a new file. So what we want to do is just call this index.html. Click Enter. So now you'll see it's named your file index.html. And remember, I've put a lowercase I, and you also have to put the .html in there so that your program knows what file you have saved this as. So when you're in Visual Studio Code, you could just close this main window, that's absolutely fine, and it will open up your index.html page. You may notice there's some other things that you could do at the bottom and as well as the top. So you can go File and Save. That'll make sure that it saves whatever it is that you're working on. That's a really important one. There's another one that you might want to consider as well, and this is down here. You've got these extensions. Now here you can search for loads of different extensions. Okay, there's loads on that. But what I'm going to do is just click on Preview. And you've got down here HTML Preview. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this. And later on in this tutorial, you'll see when we try to see what the website looks like, it's easier with this installed as an extension. That means that you can quickly toggle to preview it by doing Control Shift and V or Command Shift and V, and I'll show you that shortly. When you're in Visual Studio Code, one of the first things that you might want to do is change the color of the background. Now if you go down to here, you've got settings, and you can actually go color theme, and you can change this to any different type of color that you'd like. So if you want more of a blue background, you can do. You can choose it to your own preference and then work with it from there. Okay, so now we're going to have a quick look at setting up the structure of your first HTML page. So first of all, you can get this from a website called W3 Schools, which I will show you shortly, or you can type it. Okay, so now to start off your first HTML page, we're just going to start off If you start with just these, it will automatically pick up that it's saying you want this to be a doc type of HTML. Once you're happy with that, just click enter and you'll see that it has finished it off for you. If you're using something other than Visual Studio Code, then you might need to actually type it. So if you're using Notepad++, you'll need to type all of this because it won't put it in there for you. So then we need to start the structure. So HTML. And you can see in this program, it automatically adds an ending to this. So you've got HTML, and then you've got this other one, and it's got a backslash in there. This is saying this is closing this tag. So if I press enter a few times, this is an open and a close. If I didn't have this bottom bit in there, it wouldn't work properly. But everything that you do for this website must sit in between these two HTML tags. Just going to press enter a few times so that we can work within this. The next thing that we want to do is add a head. Okay, and again you can see that it has created a closing tag for me. Okay, so now we've got our HTML, our head, and we're just going to add one more, and that is called the body. Okay, so let me just close these up a little bit just so you can see where we are. Okay, so we've got the HTML. That's really important that that is in there. And we've got the head. Now, anything that is written inside of this head will not actually be shown on the final site. These are mainly used for things such as keywords, SEO, which is search engine optimization, as well as things such as creating a site name, which is going to be shown in the browser. This is where this section comes into play. The body, anything that is written within the body section will be shown up on that final website. And it's really important that you have all of these in there, but you don't multiply them. So you don't have lots of heads, don't have lots of bodies, and make sure you keep your code quite neat, because otherwise it can be quite chaotic and it means that you'll have lots of errors when you try to run your website. So what we're going to just quickly do is in our head element here, I'm just going to press enter a few times, and I'm just going to create something called a title. And I'm just going to put this as if I can spell. Okay, so that is what I've given my website a title of, just to start off with, my first web page. And at the moment, you can save it by going File and Save, or you can do Control and S, and it will also do the same thing. So what we're going to do is, earlier I asked you to go to an extension and put in HTML preview. So if you haven't done this already, you can do this now, and all you need to do is press Control, Shift and V. So if you go back onto your main page and go Control, Shift and V, this is what your website looks like at the moment, and as you can see, there is nothing on there at the moment. What you'll see is if you go to your main folder where you saved everything, you'll notice that you've got your index page in there, and if you right click on it, you should be able to open it, and this will show you what file you've saved it in. But you can also see that it says the title that you've just put in there. So my first web page is what we have just typed into here. So anything you change this title to will change what shows up on the tab there. Okay, so it's really important that you don't put anything silly in there because it will show up here. Okay, and at the moment you can see there's nothing else written on that page because there's nothing inside of your body tags yet. So as soon as we start adding content in here, we can refresh this page and see it live. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how you can add text within this body element here. So if I just put in hello world, this is a standard thing that people write in when they first learn code, so I thought I would continue that tradition. So you type that in there, you click save and go to preview, and it should pop up at the top there. So that's what your website looks like at the moment. And then if you check your browser, you'll see that it's popped up there too. So anything you change that text to in there will change everything elsewhere when you save it. So thank you so much for watching. In the next tutorial, we're going to be looking at adding different elements to your web page, such as looking at headers, paragraphs, bold and use of italic, as well as some for line breaks and horizontal rules. See you there.